Joining us now is Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Oji.
Good morning, Dr.
Like this your dress.
Thank you.
I won't say why on television.
No need.
Oh my goodness.
Tundu, Victoria, MKO, Abiola, rescue me. How are you?
I do my best to protect you.
How are you this morning? You look lovely.
Thank you, so do you.
Great. Good morning, Rufai. How are you?
Oji, I want to be your Captain Nigeria. I'm here to rescue you.
Okay. I can see it.
I want to see your cape.
Not Captain America, Captain Nigeria.
I love it.
America doesn't have a cape. Do you have a cape?
Don't worry, she's safe. She's safe.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Oji.
Thank you, Dr. Abati.
After the show, we'll take it from there.
Good.
All right. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the highlights of what's trending across the globe. In the United States, President Joe Biden has threatened financial and visa sanctions against Nigeria and other countries over anti-gay laws. More trends are popping up with the anonymity of cryptocurrency as a woman in the U.S. was arrested after trying to use Bitcoin to hire an assassin over the internet. While in Kwara State, a 50-year-old woman returns to secondary school to pursue her dream of becoming a teacher. Nigeria, a group has launched the hashtag Defend Lagos to counter the planned Occupy Lekki tollgate protest with the aim of preventing another round of destruction witnessed in the aftermath of the NSAS protest last October. Well, let's begin in the United States, where President Joe Biden has threatened to sanction countries, including Nigeria, that have refused to make laws to accommodate the LGBTQI community. On Wednesday, President Biden issued the memorandum, which aims at expanding the protection of the rights community worldwide. And Nigeria, which has been categorized as overtly homophobic because of her anti-gay laws, may come under the sanction. Now, Dr. Abati, we're seeing that Joe Biden is keeping up with his campaign, policies. This protection of the LGBTQI community has been in the front burner. I'd love your analysis because you were in the presidency when Nigeria's ex-president, Goodluck Jonathan, signed the same-sex, anti-gay prohibition act, which prohibits same-sex cohabitation and prescribes a 10 to 14-year jail term.
Well, I have a long story to tell, but we don't have more time, characteristically. But I would like to listen to Tundu.
No, I want to start with you and then
Tundu. She's a neutral person.
Okay, well,
let the neutral person
are you going to comment, though?
Oh, of course.
Then you start with you. Go ahead, please. I start with you, please, Dr.
You're in charge.
Yes, I'm in charge.
Well, it's as follows.
Yes.
President Biden talked about inclusion.
Correct.
And it's, if you look at what he has done so far, he's been very liberal.
Correct.
And he's also been trying to move away, push away from the legacy of President Donald Trump, which was based on this Christian evangelical, anti-abortion, anti-the LGBTQI community in the United States. So what we have seen consistently, either in foreign policy or in terms of executive orders, or now the executive memorandum that has been presented, is a different America,
right.
A more open, more progressive, more liberal, more inclusive, more diverse approach to the administration. And that has been demonstrated with the decision on climate change, on the Mexico War, on the WHO, and even more importantly, what we celebrated the other day, the World Trade Organization and the position of the United States. However, this subject has generated a lot of interest in Nigeria because you recall that in 2014, when the Jonathan administration, or if you like, the National Assembly of Nigeria, came up with the Same-Sex Prohibition Act of 2014, which prescribed 10 to 14 years imprisonment for persons who openly identify themselves as gay, persons who cohabit as gay persons, persons who run clubs or shops or agencies that promote any kind of homosexuality. This law was in place. It was very controversial.
Yes.
The United States government at the time was against it. Many Western countries were against it. And some of the analysts of the 2015 general election and its outcome insist that perhaps part of the reason why the Jonathan administration, specifically also President Jonathan, did not get the support of President Obama at the time, Barack Obama, was partly because of that particular law. And you'll recall also that even in terms of security, we were not supported by the United States. And the argument at that time was human rights violation. It was part of my assignment at the time to defend the law because the president, my boss, assented to it. Right. And our argument was that, look, this was not a law that had been imposed on Nigeria by President Jonathan. This was the decision of the representatives of the people of Nigeria. So to label Nigeria homophobic on the basis of that law may be a bit too critical because, you know, our defense at that time was that this is what the Nigerian people want through their representatives. But of course, we will later discover, of course, that there were persons inside Nigeria who did not support the position of government. And I got the full measure of that when, after leaving office, I was invited by the gay community in Nigeria to come and comment on that particular piece of legislation. And I know there was a big lobby against me. Most of them said they did not want to see me and that I was not an appropriate guest speaker. But of course, the main organizer said, yes, that I must show up. And I went there and I had that engagement. I had this 2,600, 800 word commentary on the matter.
I remember.
You know, and Ijoma Nwogugu, who was editor of This Day at the time, gave me 2 pages. She published the essay at the time. But I hope, I guess this debate will continue.
Right.
But if you look at that piece of legislation in Nigeria, has it been enforced faithfully by the Nigerian government? Because I see Nigerians on Instagram who are saying that they are intersex, who are saying that they're homosexuals. You know, there's even one now who says he wants to run for governor in one of the states of the Federation. So the law is there. It's not as if it's been rigorously implemented.
Okay.
But the conversation around it is important because the Biden administration is coming from a position of rights.
Human rights.
Inclusivity.
Correct.
The fact that every individual has the right to make a choice. And these are fundamental principles of universal human rights. And you, of course, your friend, one of your favorites in the presidential race, Pete Buttigieg, you know, is now a minister.
Yes.
You know, he's a member of cabinet in the United States. So President Biden is consistent. But the point about financial sanctions and how diplomats on foreign missions can see how they can compel countries that are homophobic, that would be a bit difficult. Yes, sanctions, if they choose to impose sanctions, but under international law, no country can dictate to the other in terms of the choices that the people make.
Right.
Simple
So
that.
do you see the law in any way being revised in Nigeria?
No, the best that can happen is that there's this debate now. We're talking about it because of the position that the primary power in the world, as the United States, has taken.
Yes.
But the debate, you know, except it translates into the National Assembly taking a second look at the law, that law stays there. But as I've said, in terms of implementation, it's not as if there is so much rigor.
Right.
But societies evolve. We can say Nigeria is conservative, but our society can also evolve.
Right. Tundun, before I come to you, I guess we'll have to go on a short break. And when we return, what's trending on the morning show? We'll continue. Welcome back to the morning show. We're still on What's Trending. Tundu, before we went on a break, we were talking about the new sanction by the Biden administration on countries that do not protect the LGBTQI community. I'd love your analysis on that.
I actually bristled when I read it because I thought, sovereignty of nations, come on, it's trite. United Nations Declaration of 1970, no nation, unless you have administrative powers over another, can dictate the cultural, political, economic legislation. You can't. And America is not our colonial master. So I did bristle. And I thought this is because of the beggarly stance Nigeria has taken. This is why we can be threatened in this fashion of, oh, we're going to cut off the funds, and we're going to cut off visas. And I was thinking, what do they have in America that we cannot have here? The only thing I could think of is the fact that I like the fact that America, in one country, you can go skiing in the morning and go to the beach in the evening. That's quite nice. Other than that, they have nothing on Nigeria if we would only get our acts together. Having said that, I am strongly pro-human rights, and I do think that that legislation is a violation of the right of people to express themselves.
Absolutely.
I think it is wrong, and it encourages violence. You'll recall, thank God, the reports have sort of dwindled recently, touch wood, I hope it doesn't start again, that gays were being lynched in Nigeria. It's awful. And having said what I previously said, sorry to seemingly contradict myself, when another country has laws that are egregious in some way, other countries do sanction them, like sponsors of terrorism, when laws are unethical. Sometimes other countries do gang up, and Nigeria has been sanctioned. Remember when we were
That's
suspended?
under public international law.
Yes, we've been suspended from the Commonwealth. It does happen. So while my initial reaction as a Nigerian was to feel some kind of, I felt affronted by it, we also need to look at the way we treat each other. All human beings are valuable, and all human beings have rights, they have liberty. So that's also important for us to address within ourselves and be more accepting of one another. And as you rightly said, Dr. Abati, it was a law that was passed by our parliament. And how many people in that parliament are fit to throw a stone at the next person? We have inveterate adulterers, inveterate fornicators in our parliament, and they're pointing the finger at homosexuals. All sexual immorality is immorality. So nobody has the right to sit in judgment of the next person.
Tundu, you cannot be more correct.
In Professor Akintanewa's voice.
Rufai, I would love your analysis on the story.
It's a reflection of how failed our leadership has been over the years that America can be gagging us now over a matter like this. And I feel very pained. Sometimes when I want to excite myself about Nigeria, I go on YouTube and I watch the first state visit Tafawa Balewa had to America in '63. I think it was, what's his name, JFK that was leader then. There was a motorcade from the airport welcoming Tafawa Balewa. JFK shook him with his own hands. Vice President of America then went to pick him up in the airport. There was a lot of fanfare. Americans were waving the flag. I think December of that year, '63, Nigeria became a republic. Tafawa Balewa made the front page of the Times magazine, talking about Nigeria with a lot of purpose and strength. But because we failed ourselves in leadership all these years, now America can gag us because of gay rights. Human rights are fundamental. They should be respected. But the part I will not take is for America to gag us because of this. Societies evolve. I think it was Arthur Schopenhauer, the German thinker, that said every idea is first refused. Then it goes to the stage of orthodoxy. The Americans that are pushing this today, let's not forget, as at 1990, they declared being an homosexual as a mental illness. Their society too evolved up to this point. But because a society like Nigeria too is evolving, does not mean you should not put sanctions and say, okay, I am this, I am that, I will trample on you. That's what I will not take. I respect the right of everybody. And like Tundu said, a lot of people sitting in our parliament, maybe somebody that brought 3 wives to come and show and say, these are 3 of my wives. My manhood is because I have 3 wives, isn't it? Somebody did that in our parliament. Does it make it right? So what is sauce for the goose might not be sauce for the gander sometimes. But we need to respect the rights of people. But the part I will not take is America gagging us. Will not give you this, will not give you that, will not give you this. That's why our leaders should sit up. What do they even have in America? Like Tundu asks. Fentanyl on the streets.
Okay, Rufai.
Drug abuse, rape, murder. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's stop acting like America is El Dorado. America is not what you see on Hollywood.
All right.
It's deeper than that.
Well, and I think we need to make a clarification. This memorandum, which the president, Joe Biden, has directed should be put in the register by the Secretary of State, It's not targeted at Nigeria.
No.
Alone.
It's just a policy. It's a policy direction
to foster their
by
policies.
the Biden administration.
Right.
And as I've argued in my comments, you know, this is consistent with the orientation of the Biden administration itself.
Correct.
Now, every government has the right to make its own policies. How it engages with the rest of the world on a bilateral level is a matter of what is negotiated around the table. So it's not as if the U.S. is in a position to impose anything on Nigeria.
Absolutely
That
not.
cannot happen because that would be against the grain of international diplomacy.
Well said, everyone. We'll take another story. A group of Nigerians have taken it upon themselves to defend the city of Lagos against the wanton destruction witnessed in the aftermath of the NSAS protest by organizing a counter-protest at the Lekki tollgate, the same day that another group of Nigerians planned to protest against the reopening of the toll plaza. Using the hashtag Defend Lagos, the group has vowed not to allow anyone to destroy the city again. A campaigner for the group, Olusoga Owoyeye, described the other group tagged Occupy Lekki tollgate protesters as hoodlums who want to continue from where they stopped last October. Well, let's take a quick look at this video launched by the Defend Lagos group. All right, we had a video. I guess we'll play that back. But I mean, I believe like the right to protest is our fundamental right. I don't know what's going to happen on February 13th, which is the day that, you know, the Defend Lagos group and the Occupy Lekki Toll Gate group of protesters plan to engage themselves. But at this point, I believe that the security forces have to be alerted so that, you know, there wouldn't be any type of, you know, war that would begin in
Looks like you have the video now, OJ.
Yes, can we take that now? As you can see, those images were quite graphic. I mean, the destruction that happened, that we all witnessed in the aftermath of the NSAS protest was, you know, heartbreaking. And you can see where these Defend Lagos group are coming from with what they want to do on Saturday.
I agree with you. I can totally see their point. I initially thought, why are you defending Lagos? Lagos is not under attack,
yes.
And they're conflating issues. The right to protest, peaceful protest, is completely different from the kind of horrendous vandalism that we saw. But this video is so effective because it actually reminds you of the degree, because I'd already forgotten how bad it actually was. So you don't blame them for being nervous, and you don't blame them for equating this potential for, you know, anarchy. I mean, look at the amount. I mean, Lagos state government said it's going to cost 1 trillion naira to recover from what happened just in October. So I actually don't blame them at all. But what I fear is that there will be a clash. Those who are trying to protest, I mean, I read your brilliant piece on Tuesday, really breaking down the various issues. I feel that the timing was completely wrong. I feel like the judicial panel goofed on this one. They could at least have waited. We all understand that we cannot make the Lekki toll gate, that bridge, into a shrine. We all understand that. But they could have at least waited. The victims demand justice.
Absolutely.
Their relatives deserve closure. They could have waited until the outcome of their deliberations before saying that that toll gate should be reopened. So they, I feel, have caused this kind of thing. And I do worry that the two opposing factions don't clash. That's my only hope now.
Dr. Abati, your analysis.
Well, I mean, that's the big concern. On one hand, you have people who are saying that the decision of the Okpe panel to allow the Lekki concession company, managers of the Lekki toll gate and the Ikoyi Link Bridge toll gate, to reopen those toll gates for reasons of insurance, they say, and taking stock and repairs, right? Those were the two, grounds for the application that went before that panel. But that panel, when it took that decision on Saturday, was divided 5-4. It's a 9-member panel. And somehow the conflict within that panel spilled onto the streets. And this is what we have seen. And it's a very unfortunate development that the panel could not reach a consensus after the fashion of maybe a court of appeal. After all, if you have a court of appeal or a Supreme Court, you can have dissensions, and it will be resolved there in a professional manner. But I don't know. I'm not making any insinuations, but it looked like the dissension spilled onto the streets. And now what we have seen is that on one hand, you have those who are taking the position of the 4 dissenting members of the panel, and those who are taking the position of the 5 members of the panel that decided to reopen. And I hope that there will be no conflict, no breakout of violence on Saturday, February 13th, at the Lekki toll gate. Because if you look at the rhetoric out there, the people who say occupy Lekki toll gate, they are saying justice must be done. Until justice is done, nobody can open this, reopen this toll gate. The people who are saying they will defend Lagos against bandits and people who want to destroy Lagos, they are using such phrases as them Papa never born them. They are saying on Twitter that, nobody has a monopoly of madness. So already, the rhetoric is one of violence, is one of hate, is one of confrontation. Where does this leave us? Lead us? It leads us to the point that the security agencies cannot afford to play possum in the face of this antagonism that we have seen. They have to secure, they have to deploy, not with a live bullet, but they have to make sure that there is protection and that the Lekki toll gate or the Ikoyi Link Bridge both do not become theaters of war on Saturday. On a lighter note, people have been sending messages to say that nobody should fight on February 13th and sabotage Valentine's Day on February 14th.
Exactly, please.
That's the third leg of it. The people who are hoping to collect gifts on Saturday, they don't want any, on Sunday, they don't want any excuse. OG, I see you are excited.
Yes, I'm begging. Thank you guys, that's all I have for you guys.